Hi peeps, I've just come on because I woke up today, as you've most likely heard, about the attack in Manchester. I didn't know anything about it till this morning when I looked on Facebook because, like I said, I don't normally watch the news. I normally see something being said on Facebook and then I go and find out about it. And I was just like, people put on "I'm home and safe from Manchester," and I thought, what's happened? So obviously, I found the news out. Kids going to a concert and obviously a suicide bomber or whatever they're saying. It is has blown himself up and took, as I know up to now anyway, 22 people and then kids, and obviously a lot more in hospital injured and not been found yet, which is just awful to think about, them poor parents and friends and family and everything. Kids going to a concert, looking forward to it, getting giddy about it. You do. That is the last thing you expect. It's just awful. And my niece, she went to a concert a few months ago. She's very upset today because she probably has got friends that went last night. I've got a few friends that some daughters went and stuff like that. They're safe that I know of. She didn't want to go in school today because she said she was upset. I mean, she's gone in school, but she knew they were having an assembly. I'm hoping to God everyone at her school are all right. But it's just awful to think what them parents are going through and the ones who were there, because it did show footage of them running, shouting, run and everything. And it's just awful when it's so close to home, because I'm literally, obviously not in bad traffic, 10 minutes away from Manchester. It's only down the road from where I live. I even saw friends on Instagram last night, not at the concert, but saying, "Oh, we're out and about in Manchester, mooching about this, that and the other." And it's just awful to think about, and for someone to be that, whatever in their head, to just go there where they know a lot of kids are and stuff, enjoying, the concert. I can never say a name. It was Ariana Grande. I can't never say a name. I mean, she's posted she's heartbroken. She mustn't have been able to believe what was going on. I think it was at the back where people go out. I think what I've heard, I don't know if it's true, that he came in when the doors were open, because when they open early sometimes, because people sometimes leave a bit earlier, came through there. I don't know if that's true. That's what I heard. You hear snippets of different things, but it's so sad to think that, when we were younger, you were never really afraid of going out. You didn't really think of that. And now these days you're always thinking, well, if your kids go out, you want them to be independent. You want them to go and enjoy themselves. But at the back of your mind, you're always thinking, I hope they're all right, especially in the day and age that we live in today. It's just awful. I'm just hoping that in the future, the new generation, not the older generation, the new generation will come together and stand together, because I believe all of it's not to do with, I can't explain this properly, like, oh, it's a suicide bomber, blah, 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 it's this, that, and the other, and it's to do with this, that, and the other. And I think a lot of it's to do with things behind the scenes that we don't hear about on the news, a lot to do with oil and money and stuff going on in other countries, like Syria and stuff like that. They're still getting bombed and all the bits that are going on that we don't hear about. Can't really explain what I mean. I know what I mean in my head, and we get riffs and effects of stuff we're doing in countries because certain governments and things are greedy, and it has ripple effects on people. People start bombing people, they start bombing other people start taking people's lives, start taking other people's lives, stuff like that. But whatever it's to do with, what happened is so heartbreaking. It's so awful. Puts things into perspective. When I said I was, grumpy at weekend with him because he was being naughty, and then you hear about stuff like this of your kids going somewhere to enjoy themselves, and this is what happens. Hang on a minute. Sorry about that. My sister came out. Well, it wouldn't be sorry about that. You wouldn't have noticed that I've gone missing for about 20 minutes. My sister just came around for dinner. But yeah, as I was saying, I've lit a candle up there for them who've lost their lives after that. But I'd also like to say to the people of Manchester, that helped out last night with all the there was taxi drivers taking kids and people home, you know, that I got stranded up there, like with all the stuff that was going on, and you know, obviously the ambulance service taking people to hospital. I think there was some hotels dotted about that took people in, because people are still looking for family members, but took people in, and you know, all bits like that of people that have come together and letting people in the homes around that area. They were letting people in the houses, you know, that were knocking on upset and stuff like that. It is brilliant when people come together quickly like that and, you know, try and help others in need. But yeah, it's just a sad day today with everything that's gone on, and I'm sure there's bound to be more about hearings of obviously people and stuff and things. But yeah, so I've lit a candle, like I said. I don't know what else to say. It's just, I think it's when, obviously you hear about these things all the time, but when it's on your doorstep, it seems more real. I know it doesn't sound brilliant, but it seems more real when it's on your doorstep, and it literally is not that far away from me. It's just a shame that we live in a world where all this goes on. You know, I know we had things from the IRA and stuff like that years ago, and we've already had, there's always things going on around the world, and it's not just in this country. Everywhere with what's going around the world, it's just awful, especially when it's young kids that are enjoying things and they're going out, and that was the last thing that they would expect, or the parents as well. So it's just to say thank you to the people that helped out last night, you know, not just the ambulance services and the hospitals and people like that, but the people, like I said, opening up the houses and taxi drivers and stuff like that, rallying around and helping. So thank you. Bye.